Without opinion polls, we'd never know what everyone else in the country thinks before and during an election. Just imagine a world for a moment where we didn't have opinion polls at all. Anyone, any politician, could say what they liked pretty much about how popular they are and what concerns voters. They'd have to base that on pretty sketchy evidence. So, carefully conducted insights into what the country thinks are of value. Right now, one of the top issues is the NHS, including dental care. Polls tell politicians which problems are cutting through. And if they ignore those issues, it's at their peril. They look out of touch. Polls also tell the media which parties need to be represented in their election coverage. So we need opinion polls, but can we trust them? They do tend to be pretty good at what they do. They also become more predictive of the election the closer we get to it, as we ourselves make up our minds about who to vote for. How do polls work? Pollsters take a sample, usually around 1,000 people, and they make sure their sample is as good a match as possible to the UK demographic as a whole, typically conducting interviews online, sometimes on the phone. The key to a good poll is the quality of the sample, how well it matches the makeup of the UK, not the number of people interviewed. You may see a poll on social media. The problem then is that all of those answers could be from one niche group who pretty much think the same thing. Polling companies commit to transparency and codes of conduct. The key thing with looking at opinion polls, and there are loads coming out at the moment, is to wait to see the signal that emerges rather than the inevitable noise. You wait to see the pattern, not focus on one individual poll. The following graph shows how Labour and Conservative support has changed in opinion polls since 2019. And lately, polls are using this up-to-date information to estimate how our votes will translate into seats or constituency results. They do that because we know what kinds of things predict people's vote choice and how those factors play out across all different constituencies. Those statistical methods currently point to large majorities for Labour in this election. So this map from 2019 would be turning a lot more red. Polls can influence how some people vote, or indeed whether they vote at all. For example, the result could look so obvious that some people just don't bother. But there are reasons to be careful with this. Polls don't always get things exactly right. And strong support in a poll doesn't always mean a party gets the largest number of MPs. In our system, smaller parties have to concentrate their support in constituencies just to get one MP, whereas large parties have to spread their vote widely. Geography also matters, and that pattern is only clear once everyone has voted. Many people take the local race into account, who has the best chance of winning in their constituency. And you can see here in 2019, around 15% of people said that they voted for a party because the party they preferred didn't have a chance of winning in their constituency. If you want to take this into account, you might look at the national polls, but you should also look at recent results where you live. So polling is useful if you know how to use polls. But at the end of the day, what really matters is the general election result itself.